Hello everyone, welcome to the InStyle Knitting Studio. Today, we will knit this hat with pizzas. You can wear it with a pom-pom. You can wear it without a pom-pom. We will need yarn for this project. I have white acrylic yarn and burgundy wool blend. The length. It will be about 200 meters per 100 grams. A pom, if you want the hat with a pom-pom. Next, needles 3.25 and 4.25. A needles with a large eye, do not skip to the end marker. Scissors, and an extra needle 4. Knitting the pattern, let's start knitting. As usual, before any knitting, we knit a sample. We wash it, dry it, and calculate our knitting gauge. I have already explained how to make all these calculations in my lesson. Here's a tip for you. If interested, see how I do it. That is, you calculated how many stitches we need to cast on for our head circumference. After this, we cast on stitches. I used a universal regular method. There's also a tip here. See how it is done, but I want to note. Since we will knit a 2x2 rib, our number of stitches should be a multiple of 4. If you knit a 1x1 rib, the number of stitches should be a multiple of 2. A multiple means it should be evenly divided by that number. So, if the ribbing is 2x2, our number of stitches should be evenly divided by 4. If the ribbing is 1x1, the number of stitches should be evenly divided by 2. And to join our cast on row, you need to cast on one additional stitch. So, I calculated my knitting gauge. I need to cast on 84 stitches. I will cast on 85 stitches to neatly close the round. Here, you can also see a lesson on how I do it. How I connect the initial row into a circle. That is, we cast on a number of stitches, that is a multiple of 4, plus 1 stitch. We connect into a circle. After that, we decrease 1 stitch. So, it results in a number that is a multiple of 4. And we continue to knit with a 2x2 ribbing. That is, we knit with knit and purl stitches. 2 knit stitches, 2 purl stitches, 2 knit stitches, 2 purl stitches. Knit stitches in circular knitting are always knitted through the front loop. I knit purl stitches using the continental method. I also have lessons on how to knit stitches, classic knit stitches, continental, purl stitches, classic purl stitches, continental. Everything will be below the video. Watch the lessons if you're interested. That's it. We knitted the 2x2 ribbing. I have 6.5 centimeters. After that, we need to make an increase. Since we will be knitting cables now, they pull the fabric in a lot. Therefore, we need to make an increase. Now let's do a little calculation. I have 84 stitches on the needles, and I know that my pattern repeat. These cables that we are going to knit is 15 stitches. I take the number of stitches I have on the needles. 84 stitches divided by 15 stitches, which is the number of stitches in one repeat. It results in 5 whole repeats and 6 stitches. Thus, 5 whole repeats fit into my number of stitches. Next, I take 15 stitches, which is the number of stitches in one repeat. I multiply by 5 whole repeat. It results in 75 stitches. That is, to have 5 repeats, I need 75 stitches. I have 84 stitches. I take 84 stitches. I subtract 75 stitches. This leaves 9 stitches. That means I have 9 extra stitches. I need to reach a complete repeat. Therefore, I need to add stitches. How many stitches should I add? 15 stitches, which is the number of stitches in one repeat. I subtract 9 stitches. This results in 6 stitches. So I need to add 6 stitches to have one more additional repeat. To have 6 repeats, I need to add 6 stitches. Well, I will add another 2 repeats. One repeat is 15 stitches, so I take 15 stitches, multiply by 2, and then add the missing 6 stitches. This results in 36 stitches. I must add this amount to gain 3 additional repeats. Now we will calculate how many stitches we need to make an increase, the 84 stitches we have on the needles. We will divide by 36 stitches that we need to add. This results in 2 3/10. That means we need to make an increase every 2 stitches, even a bit more. So increase, 2 stitches, increase. Somewhere, I might make the increase every 3 stitches, to ensure these 36 stitches increase evenly. After all the calculations, we will start adding stitches. And we change the needle size. I had 3 25/100. I took 4 25/100, which is 1 size larger. I calculated that I need to make increases every 2 stitches. That means in the next row we will knit with knit stitches. All knit stitches through the front loop, and through 2 stitches I will make an increase. I took new needles in a larger size and moved the marker here right away. That is the beginning of the row. I knit 2 knit stitches. Next we make the increase. I lift this yarn over between the stitches onto the left needle. Like this, so that it is positioned this way, and I knit it through the back. That is, to avoid making a hole. In other words, we make a twisted knit stitch. 1 stitch added. Next, we knit 2 knit stitches again. We have knitted. Next, we take the yarn over again. Place it on the left needle in this way and knit through the back loop. This is our second increase. Also, by the way, you can immediately catch the yarn over with the left needle and knit it as a twisted knit stitch. Thus, we continue knitting to the end of the row. We ensure that we have the number of stitches calculated, which is necessary. That is, so that there are as many increases as we need. That's it. I finished the row, and change the needles, that is, the ones we initially took. We don't need anymore. We will be knitting with thicker needles. As a result, I made 36 increases. Instead of 84 stitches, there are 120 stitches on the needles. After that, we begin to knit the pattern. Our braids, the main pattern, will consist of 15 stitches wide and 8 rows high. Now I will show you the chart. Here is the chart. You can take a screenshot and, in principle, knit until our decreases. If someone finds it difficult, if someone wants to listen to me, please, we will continue to knit according to this chart. Here, basically, everything is indicated. Everything is outlined, explaining what each symbol on the diagram means. Therefore, I won't explain now. Let's just start knitting. Here is the beginning of the row. The next row, that is, the first row of the pattern, results in us knitting as follows. We knit a purl stitch, 1 purl stitch, then 1 knit stitch. Next, again a purl stitch. After that, we knit 12 stitches as knit stitches through the front loop. We have knitted 12 stitches. In total, we have knitted 15 stitches. Here is our first repeat. That means we repeat the same until the end of the row. So we knit, now a purl, a knit, a purl, and again. We knit 12 knit stitches. We repeat this until the end of the row. So, we finish this row. We move the marker and the next row is the second one. We knit in the same way. Here we can see already that we have a purl stitch. Next is a knit stitch, and again a purl. After that, we have 12 knit stitches. Then we repeat again. A purl, a knit, a purl, 12 knit stitches. That means we knit the first 2 rows of the pattern this way. That's it, we finish knitting. Then we will continue. We have finished this row. Now, we start knitting the 3rd row of the pattern. So here initially, as usual, a purl, a knit, a purl. Next, we knit 4 knit stitches. We have knitted. After that, we take 4 stitches. We transfer them to a helper needle. And we set them aside. Then we knit 4 knit stitches. After this, we use a spare needle to knit those 4 stitches we transferred. We have knitted them. That's it. Then we repeat everything the same way. That is, we knit a purl, a knit, a purl. Next, 4 knits. Then, we transfer 4 stitches to the spare needle and leave them at the back. After this, we knit 4 knit stitches. We slightly tighten the first and continue. From the spare needle, we knit our 4 stitches. You can transfer from the spare needle to the left and then knit. Or you can knit directly from the spare needle, which is easier for you. See for yourself. We repeat this until the end of the row. We have knitted, now we have the 4th, 5th, and 6th rows. We knit just like we knitted the 1st and 2nd. Here we have a purl, a knit, a purl, next 12 knit stitches, then again a purl, a knit, a purl, 12 knits. So we knit 3 rows this way. We are done. Now we will be knitting the 7th row. How do we knit the 7th row? A purl, a knit, a purl. Next, we will immediately place 4 stitches on the spare needle and leave them in front of the work now. Then we knit 4 knits. We tighten the first. We have knitted. After this, we knit 4 stitches. From the spare needle, we have knitted. And after this, we knit 4 knit stitches. This way. Next we repeat a purl, a knit, a purl. Then 4 stitches on the spare. Needle in front of the work. After this, we knit 4 knit stitches. We tighten the first. And then we knit these 4 stitches from the additional needle. After that, we knit 4 knit stitches. We knit to the end of the row, but I want to note that I will be knitting with a gradient. That is, I will be gradually changing the color of the yarn. If you are knitting with a single color yarn, you can continue to the end of the row calmly. But I will be making a smooth transition from white to burgundy. Therefore, I will remove the white and add burgundy. My yarn consists of 6 strands, so it is unwrapped. That is why I will remove 2 strands. I cut them off immediately, and I will add 1 burgundy strand instead. So now I will have a speckled effect. There will be a slight speckle. I draw a little with this yarn. So, I removed a little white. I added a bit of burgundy. My burgundy yarn is slightly thicker than the white. That is why I added 1 burgundy strand and removed 2 whites. That's it. Let's finish this row to the end. Well, we have reached the end of the row. Our next and last row, the 8th, is very simple to knit. Just like the previous rows. Purl, knit, purl. Next, we knit 12 knit stitches. And again we repeat, purl, knit, purl. 12 knit stitches, so let's finish the 8th row and meet after that. That's it, dear friends. We have reached the end of our pattern. We have finished the 8th row. Now we will just repeat from the 1st row to the 8th. As long as we need to make decreases. I will be knitting, that is, right now according to the pattern. As I mentioned, from the 1st to the 8th row, I will be repeating these airports upward. And then we will meet. I will tell you how much height I have knitted. And I want to say as well that probably as I knit, I will add more burgundy color. That is, I will knit a little more in this color. And then, I will remove 2 white strands and add another burgundy, probably so. Well, in general, we need to watch visually and gradually change the color. That's it, girls. Let's knit straight, repeating the airport consisting of 8 rows. And we will meet at the moment when we need to make the decreases. Now, I will measure how much that is in centimeters. About 9.5 centimeters I have of the main pattern, and the ribbing is 6.5. After this, we make our first decrease. How? This is what I get. Now, I will be knitting the 3rd row of the pattern. And here we will make a decrease. So, purl, knit, purl. After that, we knit 4 knit stitches. Next, 4 stitches go onto an auxiliary needle behind the work. After this we knit 2 stitches together, knit through the front loop, pull tight. Next we knit 2 knit stitches. After that, from the auxiliary needle, we knit the first 2 stitches together likewise through the front loop. And then we knit 2 ordinary knit stitches from the auxiliary needle through the front loop as usual. Thus, we made our first decrease. We knitted the first rapport. We had 15 stitches in the rapport, now we will have 13. Next, we repeat the same. I apologize for the lighting. Right now, we have autumn outside and it is very hard to find bright daylight. It's not very convenient to keep turning on the lights and filming. Unfortunately, I have no other time. Even though I am filming this during the day while my kids are sleeping, as you can see, it's autumn, dark and cloudy, but I think you will still see what I see and connect with me after we finish our decrease. That is, when we reach the end of the row, we will knit 3 rows of the pattern and reach the 7th row, where we will do our second decrease. There we will meet. Well, friends, we have knitted up to the 7th row. In the 7th row, we will make our second decrease. We knit a purl, knit a purl. Next, according to the pattern, we have 4 stitches. We place them on an auxiliary needle. We position the needle in front of the work. After that, we knit 2 stitches together knitwise through the front loop. We tighten. Next, we knit 1 knit stitch. After that, from the auxiliary needle, we knit the first 2 stitches together knitwise. Then, we have 2 regular knit stitches through the front loop. We have knitted. After this, we knit 3 knit stitches. So, we have our first rapport here, where we made 2 decreases. In the end, we should have, instead of 13 stitches in the rapport, 11 stitches. After we reach the end of the row, making the decrease, which is our second decrease, we will knit 2 rows of the pattern. You can knit 3, but I will knit 2. And we will meet to do our third decrease. We have reached our third decrease. Here's the start of my row. We knit a purl, knit a purl. We consistently knit these 3 stitches should be uniform to create a braid here. Next, we will decrease as much as possible. Here are the next 2 stitches. We knit them together through the front loop knitwise. We have knitted. Next, the next 2 stitches. Again, we knit them together as a knit stitch. After that, we move 2 stitches to a second needle and place it behind the work. Next, we knit 2 stitches together as a knit stitch. After this, we will knit these 2 stitches from the second needle together as a knit through the front loop. We have knitted. We will continue like this until the end of the row. In this pattern, we have decreased 4 stitches. Instead of 11 stitches, we should already have 7. After we finish this row, we will knit 2 more rows of the pattern. You can knit 3 rows, and we will make our 4th and final decrease. Well, that's it, friends. We are getting to our last decrease, the 4th decrease. Here everything is very simple. We just take and knit 2 stitches together as a knit stitch. I will be knitting through the back loop. It's easier. In principle, there is no difference here. So we just take and knit 2 stitches together as a knit stitch. After we reach the end of the row, decreasing this way, we will knit 1 more row of knit stitches. After this, we will pull all the stitches together, move them to 1 thread and tighten them. And we will meet, and I will show you how I close the top. That's it. After this, we can already remove the marker. We cut the thread, leaving 40 centimeters, and thread it through a needle with a large eye. And now we will tighten our hat in this way. That is, we take the needle. Here is where my thread starts. I transfer all the stitches to the thread. If it seems like too many stitches for someone to tighten the hat, then we can make one more row of decreases. That is, knit one from 2 stitches and thus reduce the number of stitches by half. We transferred and removed from the left needle. Next, we transfer all the stitches to our thread and will just tighten the hat later. I ended up with 28, I think, stitches on the needles right now. I will be pulling them tight. We have reached the end of the row. So, all our open stitches already have the yarn attached. We simply tighten it, and hide the yarn on the inside. We pulled it tight here, but we watch to make sure this yarn does not break carefully. We can go over this once more. Let's lower the yarn one more time to make it stronger. We will tighten it well, go over it once more and hide all our ends on the inside. This is how the tip turned out for me, that's all. Our hat is ready. If we want to make a hat with a pom-pom, we attach the pom-pom. If not, then the hat is ready. It needs to be washed and dried on a flat surface, and basically, that's it. If you want to insulate it, you can add a lining here, that's all. I think this masterclass was useful for you. If so, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and always stay stylish. Wishing everyone good